We're back with part two of our interview with Damian Josephberg from Equip. Damian, let me give you a follow-up question. Is there a difference in how to perform shaft alignments on different types of gas turbines?
Well, I'm glad you asked that, Bill. Well, on steam turbines, you're going to have the tops on alignment, tops on, tops off. That's your standard bearer or your gold standard for steam turbine alignment. You're always going to know exactly how the tops on position is affecting the internal components, and you can go back to that when you're doing your tops off moves. The other two types of alignment are just a straight tops off alignment. You're not going to put the top back on. You're just going to take readings with the top off the turbine. And you're only going to do that on a very small application where it's going to be a rigid body, or perhaps it's so small that you can't even fit somebody inside to take the readings with the top on. Or if you have a known tops on to tops off change from a previous alignment check and you trust that data. The other alignment that you would perform on a steam turbine would be an express alignment. And that's where you measure the horizontal joint deflection and you take some various other readings in order to determine a theoretical tops on position. And when you know this theoretical tops on position, then you'll be able to predict where those internal components are going to move when the top is on the turbine, and you use that data exactly as you would for a tops on to tops off alignment check. Now, you would do this express alignment generally only on a GE turbine that has diaphragms. It can also be done on a Westinghouse style turbine that has blade rings, but it's a little bit more complicated. There's more things to factor in. And you'd also only want to do this on a robust turbine, possibly an older turbine, where it's going to move predictably when the top is put on. If it's more flimsy construction, you're still going to want to do a traditional tops on, tops off alignment because there's going to be some twisting that is going to be very difficult for you to account for in a theoretical tops on scenario.
Okay. Well, that leads to another question. Is there a difference between the types of shaft alignments that are performed on gas turbines as opposed to steam turbines?
They're fairly similar in a gas turbine to a steam turbine shaft alignment. You're gonna, during the outage, you're gonna take your rotor position readings along with your coupling alignment readings, so that you're gonna know where the rotor is sitting to the turbine internal components, as well as where those couplings are sitting. So for both alignments, you can do a lot of the shaft alignment when everything is taken apart by moving the bearings and calculating that back to those rotor position readings. Now, in a gas turbine as opposed to a steam turbine, it's a little bit more difficult to make those gas turbine alignment moves without the rotor in, because you're going to have to be taking those setback readings with the top off, and things move around a little bit. As far as once everything's assembled, depending on what kind of gas or steam turbine you're looking at, you're generally going to want to move the generator. And so on a gas turbine, a lot of times now the generator's on fixators, which makes it very easy to move. And sometimes on steam turbines you'll see that now, but not as much. You're going to always want to try to move the generator before you would move other components. But once you're getting to those other components, the major difference between a gas turbine and a steam turbine in making those moves is a steam turbine, you're going to be moving the bearings, and you're going to be limited in the amount of moves that you can make, because then you're going to be bumping up your internal clearances, where in a gas turbine, you're going to be moving the skid itself. So the entire turbine is going to move as a unit. So you're going to have more flexibility on the amount of moves that you can make on that gas turbine.
Okay. Our final question for you today is if you could make any suggestions for a project manager going into an outage to help with alignment tasks, what would those suggestions be?
Well, first of all, you want to take very good as-found data. You don't know where you're going to unless you know where you've been. So you want to make sure you take good coupling alignment data after you come down. You want to take good rotor position data. Then when you take a top off, you're going to want to take that data again, so you could see if the top on to top off position is affecting those rotor positions and affecting the coupling. After that, you're going to want to chart out rotors and make sure that when you take the data, you take clean data, the spots are cleaned off, so that you could always get back to those setback points. Then if any other components are being changed or moved, you can always go and take data on those so that you can get back to that as well. It's all about getting back to where you were all the time and documenting it and making sure that the data you're taking is clean and accurate data.
Excellent. Thank you for joining us today, Damien. Very insightful. We were visited today with Damien Josephberg from McQuid.